So the idea of the next 20 minutes, I'm going to speak about what we've done at Elastic, our journey towards getting visibility and then remediation. So I'm Chris Cutajar, I'm a security engineer at Elastic within the InfoSec function. Starting off by what we do at Elastic, we're a search AI company by nature. We do search, and we celebrated 15 years. And over the years, since we have the data, you could do anything, we moved into the observability and security. From a product perspective, we're open source, but also have Elastic Cloud and the Elastic Cloud Serverless, which spans across all three major CSPs, cloud services providers. And you can imagine when you deal with the different cloud service providers, you start to build up those non-human identities. From Elastic, we're distributed by nature from the start. We're across 44 different countries. We don't have major offices. I'm based in Malta. For those of you that don't know, we're a small island just under Sicily, and we're approximately 4,000 elasticians. Some folks say we're quite big, others we're very small. Our IDP is Okta, and again, we're a SaaS organization. Double figures when it comes to SaaS. Everything is SaaS. NHI started building. And we started to look at it, and this is our journey. And the idea of today is to go to each and everyone, focus a little bit, spend some time on each and everyone, and explain what we've done. It's not always, it might be good for us, but not for the same, but I think the benefits would be the same. And I feared over the past sessions, we're quieter. Of course, there's always room for improvement. It's not one-time thing and it's done. So starting off by and we feared it also today, a quote from my colleague, you don't know, you can't secure what you don't know. So we have to get that visibility. So we started with asset inventory. When it comes to different CSPs, you will start with, for example, username. One would be user_name, user.name. So we started building first a data model and also using the Elastic Common Schema to build an asset inventory. We're a customer zero at InfoSec, so our asset inventory is built on Elastic. And we've built it from scratch through Python code, etc. Been working on it for the past 18 months or so, and NHI is one just use case, but we use the AssetDB for different teams. We provide them access, have visibility of their assets, we provide them ownership of what they have, what they deploy, and also we use it for SIEM, TDR, threat detection and response. We're able to correlate and ingest all the data, correlate with our assets, and we easily, within a short Slack message, understand who is the owner. It's not always the case. There's always need to be some investigation, but it's always a start. Moving on from assets, we started building best practices. We've heard it today. Best practices is one of the important things. And so we started building the best practices, rotation of keys, taking accountable workload identity, etc. But as we were expanding, we noticed that different CSPs, different platforms have their own best practices. This is showcasing just a small snippets of the best practices, making those best practices available to users in Wiki. And it's not just putting them and document it. You need to publish, promote those best practices. So what we've done is we partnered with the communications team as an InfoSec to be able to have a small section within the monthly newsletter that they send and say, hey team, we have published these best practices, they are out there, and look at them. By that, you start promoting your best practices, what you have, and start instill that responsibility. Apart from newsletter, there's Slack, whoever use Slack, public channels, and start promoting as much as possible. It's impressive that when you start promoting those, teams will get back to you. They will look at their environment and come to, hey, we have this, can we review what we have and what we don't have. Now that we have our best practices and our assets inventory, which is full of NHIs and other assets, resources that each CSP SaaS provider have, we start data analysis. Now, with data analysis, it's just not a JSON blob but we started to build visualizations. Why we started to build visualizations? It's easier to understand, easier to read, and it makes the discussion flow. What we found also, for example, this is a graphic that we've built. Each one of them is a different team. And we created some metrics for each team when it comes to compliance. For example, this one is where the InfoSec one is 100% compliant, but other teams might not. And with those healthy discussions, providing them the data, it's not just saying, hey, you have blah, blah, blah. We have the data. Here is the data for you. What can we do to improve our security posture? And it's impressive to see that healthy competition between teams, making them aware what they have and what they don't have. And for example, the top one, so when I started ingesting all the NHI for AWS and created the first visualization, immediately I noticed that there are a couple of AWS accounts have a lot of access tokens and they are almost maximizing. And I said, okay, what AWS they are? I went directly to the owners and quick discussion showcasing again the visualization, data-driven discussions. They said, let us take a look. Couple of just hours. Okay, we know what it is. Those should have been deleted a couple of months ago. They weren't. We'll take care of it. Within a couple of days, we've deleted 125,000 of access tokens that were lying there, not used at all, haven't been used for 300 days. They've forgotten about it. It's just visualizations. Give them access. Why not? You start to instill that ownership of the users. InfoSec is quite small team, at least for us, and I'm pretty sure that every team is the same for organizations. So you won't have full ownership, full responsibility of them. They are the responsible ones that they need to take care of them. And again, with numbers, you can easily then start also showcasing you have 100 stale accounts, 200 stale accounts, and comparisons, etc. Moving on to automation. We've heard automation. And for me, this is the fun part after data analysis. I'm quite hands-on. From Elastic, we have a partnership with Tynes. And I don't want you to look at each one of them, but this is a story that we've built. It's approximately 15 actions, and I was impressed that I was able to include it in a slide, which basically what it does, it looks at the intro, it gets all the intro ID risks and those secrets that need rotation. This one is directly for the observability team. So I know all the resources for the observability team. With the data from intro and the asset database that we've built, I'm correlating the data, enriching that data, and then taking action. This team works in GitHub. So by making also some data manipulation, I was able to create a nice GitHub ticket, and on a quarterly basis, this script triggers, creates a ticket to the observability team with all the risks, all the secrets, or the NHIs that needs rotation or haven't been used for the past 90 days. It's working. The important thing, it's not that it's working, but during the process, I had discussions with them. We tested it a couple of times without them and then with them. Make sure that their visualization, the GitHub ticket, is easy to read for them because they will be the users. They will go through the tickets, the secrets, etc. And from that point, it's working, it's scheduled, and that's it. The bottom one is this small. Again, don't want you to read it, but basically what we've done is we created another workflow. It looks at all the GitHub NHI tokens, and those that are not used for the past 90 days reach out directly to the user via Slack message. Again, there are hundreds of some folks create a token and leave it. They don't use it. Others, it's there. Maybe one time we use it. Again, it's always a risk. It should not be there. If you use it one time, just use it, delete it. So by directly connected to the user, we're providing that responsibility to them. At the end of the day, they are the owners, but they need to provide a justification. Sometimes you need to think, it might be a stale account, a stale token because they have been on PTO for health reasons, other reasons. So you need to think of that part as well. It's not just sending a Slack message and that's it. You also have some service accounts, and that Slack doesn't make any sense. And we'll provide the user a couple of days, provide justification. If they don't action, we will take action. But of course, take action with caution. There's always caution when it comes to users, etc. And one of the things that, as I said, it's an always continuous improvement. For example, one thing that we would like to add is have a button that a user could easily press and revoke, rather than go, for example, into GitHub and delete, etc. This all is good, but one of the important, again, aspects of to make the user aware of what you are doing. So again, a discussion with the communications team, a small snippet in the monthly newsletter. Hey, we're going to go live with this workflow on this day. If you get pinged on Slack, it's us. So if you need any help, reach out to us. One of the hardest during this automation process is finding owners. And whenever you find owners, it's important to document as much as possible that ownership. You don't want to go into the process each time, either a case or you have a new token and it's related to the same, but you don't have an owner. So document that and include it in your assets inventory, whatever you use. Operationalization, it's, again, as we heard, it's not possible to do it manually when you're dealing with thousands, hundreds of thousands of NHI and across multiple SaaS platforms. You need some kind of automation in place. Again, for us, Steins has been pretty awesome, but of course there are other solutions out there that you could implement. And as I said, feedback, pilot groups, gather as much feedback as possible. At the end of the day, they will be the users. Automation is not just one time and it's done. It's continuously improving, continuously understanding what benefits are you getting from that automation. So what I've done is, again, with each automation, each execution, I'm gathering data, the metrics. So the red line, so these are, for example, GitHub, and that one is AWS. The previous red line is the state of where we are. When we triggered automation, we could see a dip. Again, there's still improvement to be done, but we're seeing value in that dip. The one, again, previously we're at a state when we started to look at the data, the NHIs, and deploying some automation, there's a dip, which is a nice dip. Again, we could be better, but again, it's always a start. You always need to improve. Make sure that your automation is improvement. And share these success stories with the different team. Because again, you instill that responsibility, that competitiveness, healthy competitive within the organization, that folks will come, different teams will come to you, and that's an awesome feeling to have as a security engineer, getting feedback, getting teams getting directly to you, what can we do? How can we improve our NHI security posture? And as you're building the first automation, then you can start expanding to different platforms, different teams, etc. And the final, we fear DevOps, the issues with DevOps, etc. Help them build those pipelines. Help them. For example, what we've done is one of the DevOps per se built a CI/CD pipeline that goes into the whole AWS tokens and checks whether those tokens are being used. If they are not being used or haven't been used for the 90 days, delete them. They've done it. We literally went them, hey, this is awesome. What can we do to have other teams use it? What can we do to template this process? And always share with them. So to conclude and recap to what I've said, get leadership on board. It's important for discussions with different teams and escalations. Thank God I hadn't any escalation, but it could in different organizations. As I said, finding ownership is hard. So once you find that owner is documented so that it's a continuous improvement, data-driven approach for us, it's important. Again, data-driven, you need to find those low-hanging fruits and delete them, remediate them, and move on and show that to the users, because data is everything. Automation, as I said, this is one of my fun and I love automation things. So, and it's continuously making sure that it's working. User empathy, as I said, you just don't delete. Have discussions with them, understand their needs. You don't want to lose their trust. You don't want to interfere with day-to-day operations, because at the end of the day, it's the business needs. So user empathy it's important, and share their success, their stories, share their work, and finally teamwork. As an engineer, you're always looking for, sometimes you're in a bubble, but gather feedback as much as possible, hear them. And one of our elastic sources is progress, simple, perfection. Even, for example, when you're building documentation, for me, just a word could mean one thing, but for another person within a different country, it's a totally separate meaning. And getting those feedback in and enhancing and improve, that's the way to go. So that's it from my end. Hopefully I kept you focused. I know it's, for me, some jet lag, but thank you.